9.2 Introduction. Insects are the most varied and common class of life on Earth. This dominance and diversity of insects in nature are largely due to creative methods for occupying odd and limited functional niches in restricted spaces. Due to its smaller size, high fecundity, brief life cycle, and existence of morphologically and physiologically distinct life stages, a single insect species can live in more than one habitat and experience a rapid growth in population. Owing to these traits, insects are adapted to every land and freshwater habitat where food is available, including human household. Many species of insects have the ability to invade or remain permanently in and around human household. Aside from agricultural and animal commodities, these insect species cause irritation in a variety of ways, including resting on sensitive part of our body, biting and causing pain, making irritating noise, damaging the household furniture and food, etc. 9.3 Cockroaches. Cockroaches are the most common insect found in human household. Cockroaches are especially problematic in household kitchen and are found mostly in unhygienic conditions. Most people find cockroaches disgusting and unpleasant just by their mere existence. They can contaminate food, cookware, and other home items, and they leave a bad odor. Cockroaches occasionally occur as mechanical vectors of bacteria that cause food poisoning. Asthma is frequently brought on by cockroach outbreaks, extended contact to cockroaches, and their molting exoskeletons, or skin, especially in urban settings. Classification. Kingdom, Animalia. 163. Phylum, Arthropoda. Class, Hexapoda, Insecta. Order, Blatodia. Family, Blattidae. Types. Cockroaches of different types and sizes can be seen and found in our households running around different commodities. Majorly 4 species of cockroaches are commonly found in human households. 1. German cockroach Blattella germanica. It is the most common household insect pest species, found all over the globe. Habit and habitat. The German cockroach favors locations near food sources and water. It is 0.625 inch in length at maturity with 2 dark streaks behind the head in pronotum. These cockroaches aggregate in numbers few to several around different areas in home. The most common of such places include cracks and crevices around cabinets, wall and ceiling voids, in and around refrigerators, stove and oil containers. Female of these cockroaches can be seen carrying an ootheca, egg casing, at the end of its abdomen. Female carries this ootheca until the eggs are matured and ready to emerge. Nymphs are smaller and darker tan in color. Damage. Large population and in scarce of food, these can be found in various parts of the house including closet, bathrooms and bedrooms. 2. American cockroach Paraplaneta americana, at about 1.5 an inch long when fully grown. This roach is the largest roach commonly found in a home. Its color ranges from reddish-brown to brown, with a pale yellow band surrounding the thorax. Adults have well-developed wings but rarely fly. Nymphs are smaller and wingless, but similar in appearance. Habit and habitat. German cockroaches and American cockroaches have different reproductive rates. These cockroaches prefer moist, dark environments. They usually congregate in boiler rooms, steam tunnels, laundry rooms, floor drains, drain pumps, pipe ducts, and sewage systems. They can also be found outside in gardens and among trash cans during the warmer months. 164. Damage. With their frequent association with sewage, decaying organic matter and dirty conditions, American cockroaches can be a health hazard as they act as vector for human disease pathogens. They transfer the germs and bacteria upon close contact with food and food surfaces. 3. Oriental cockroach Blatta orientalis. The oriental cockroach is shiny black or dark brown, and the adult is about 1 inch long. The females have very short wings, and the males have wings that cover about half the abdomen. Habit and habitat. Sewers, crawlspaces, cellars, and basements are typical habitats for this cockroach, which prefers cool, dark, wet environments. The nymphs and adults are typically found at ground level and move very slowly. They frequently reside in floor drains and sump pumps. They also reside outside beneath rocks, trash, and plant matter and enter buildings through vents, door thresholds, and other holes. Damage. Oriental cockroaches are particularly unhygienic because they frequently eat trash, animal and human waste, and decomposing organic substances. Additionally, cockroaches can carry disease-causing bacteria and protozoa on their legs and bodies and deposit them on food, utensils, and other surfaces. These pathogens include bacteria and protozoans causing various types of gastroenteritis and diarrhea. 4. Brown-banded cockroach Supella longipalpa. Despite being much less prevalent than the German cockroach, this species occasionally poses a nuisance in houses. The German cockroach is larger than the brown-banded cockroach, however the German cockroach lacks black longitudinal bands on the area below the head. Instead, there are 2 transverse yellowish stripes across the wings and a black bell-shaped pattern behind the head. Habit and habitat. Because of its propensity to spread throughout homes, including non-food containing settings like the bedroom, under tables, and behind pictures on the walls, the brown-banded cockroach is frequently referred to as the furniture cockroach. Damage. The brown-banded cockroach feeds upon a range of household goods. It may devour substances like glue or paste particularly made from animal-based materials, starch, and specific color dyes, just like members of other cockroach species. Therefore, artifacts like stamps, envelopes, ancient book bindings, draperies, and infrequently wallpaper, may exhibit feeding symptoms. This species has also been observed chewing on non-food items like nylon stockings, likely in search of leftover skin flakes and body oils. 5. Wood cockroaches Parcoblatta species. The wood cockroach is regarded as a sporadic pest that causes annoyance in households. Adult males have complete wings, whereas females have noticeable wing pads that serve no purpose. While the female's wing pads only cover 1/3 to 2/3 of the abdomen, the male's wings are longer than its body. The males fly quickly but lack the endurance to stay in the air for extended periods of time. 165. Habit and habitat. These are generally outdoor cockroaches that inhabit woodpiles, logs that have fallen, and dead trees. Although these cockroaches prefer to live outside, they can cause problems if infested firewood is brought indoors or if they enter homes from the nearby forests. Although they cannot live inside, they can be a nuisance in the spring and summer seasons when a lot of cockroaches come inside from the outdoors. In the winter, these cockroaches get transported in firewood into homes. Damage. Decaying organic matter acts as the primary food source for wood cockroaches. These cockroaches breed outside the household and are rarely found breeding indoors. However, as the use of wooden tiles and decorative material along with use of wood as building material is ever growing, a serious outbreak of these cockroaches is looming in different parts of the world. 9.4 Ants. Ants are some of the most ubiquitous insects found in community environments. Ants can survive in almost every conditions with access to food and water. Outdoors, ants are mostly beneficial, as they feed on a wide array of organic matter and also act as predator for small insects. Furthermore, ants also help in seed dispersal of certain plants. A well-known feature of ants is their sociality, which is also found in many of their close relatives within the order Hymenoptera, such as bees and wasps. Ant colonies vary widely with the species, and may consist of less than 100 individuals in small concealed spaces, to millions of individuals in large mounds that cover several square feet in area. Functions within the colony are carried out by specific groups of adult individuals called castes. Most ant colonies have fertile males called drones, one or more fertile females called queens, and large numbers of sterile, wingless females which function as workers. Many ant species exhibit polymorphism, which is the existence of individuals with different appearances, sizes, and functions within the same caste. For example, the worker caste may include major and minor workers with distinct functions, and soldiers that are specially equipped with larger mandibles for defense. Classification. Kingdom, Animalia phylum, Arthropoda class, Hexapoda insecta. 166. Order, Hymenoptera family, Formicidae. Types. 1. One-node ants. Argentine ant, Leinkathema humile. These ants are found in colonies with large and polygynous conditions, sometimes comprising hundreds of queens and many thousands of workers. New nests are founded by migration or budding. Adults are dull brown in color. All workers are uniform-sized, queens are larger. Waist has one erect node. Thorax is uneven in shape when observed from the side. Habit and habitat. Worldwide, in regions with Mediterranean, subtropical and mild temperate climates. Native to northern Argentina. In the southwest, mostly found in irrigated, moist areas in urban and agricultural settings. L. humile appears to be more successful in subtropical and Mediterranean climates than in extremely cold, arid or tropical climates. Where it has been introduced, this species is mainly found in close association with humans, with a preference for anthropogenically disturbed areas, but it also has the capacity to invade natural ecosystems around the world. Damage. These are also known as sugar ants. Although they do not generally bite or sting, these ants are considered a nuisance and a cause for concern because of their huge colonies. Prefer sweets, but will feed on many different food materials. These ants commonly infest houses and other premises, contaminating and spoiling stored food and other products. Argentine ants are extremely invasive and can displace native ant species when they are introduced to a new area. 2. Carpenter ant. Camponotus modoc. Carpenter ants are the largest ant species. Waist with single node found in community environments. The western carpenter ant C. modoc is black in color, with dark red legs. Queens can measure up to 0.75 inch, and workers from 0.25 to 0.5 inch in length. Waist has one erect node. Thorax is uniform in shape when observed from the side. Other species of carpenter ants include C. vicinus, C. herculinus, C. noborosensis and C. essigi. 167. Habit and habitat. The tunnels may resemble subterranean termite tunnels, but can be distinguished by absence of soil or other termite tubes. Damage. Damage wooden structures by nesting in them, but do not eat wood. They chew along or across the grain of the wood, creating clean and smooth tunnels. Feed on a wide range of food material, including human food. Prefer sweets and meat. 3. Odorous house ant. Tapinoma sessile. They are the sugar ants of the kitchen because they enjoy sweets but also eat grease and decaying insects. Winged reproductive appear during May through July. Workers are quickly moving and are quite active. These ants can build their nests outdoors or indoors close to heat sources, inside insulation, or somewhere else. Habit and habitat. Although they can nest within buildings, nests are typically found outside under rocks, boards, and the like. Colonies range in size from a few hundred to tens of thousands of individuals, with 1 to several queens per colony. House odorous ants build their nests indoors near sources of warmth and moisture, in crevices, although they can also do so in termite-damaged wood. Damage. The odorous house ants may eat a wide variety of foods. Only because they contaminate various items kept in the pantry do these ants come into contact with human settlements. 9.5 Wasps. Wasps belong to the highly evolved insect order of Hymenoptera. They are the predatory insects in the suborder Apocrita along with honeybee and bumblebees. Unlike bees, wasps use their sting for the predation not just for the self-protection. They have a smooth exoskeleton with few hairs on their legs, which give them a sleeker appearance than the bees. Several species of wasps live in social colonies and depending upon the species single wasp nest can hold up to 10,000 individuals. The Vespidae family of wasps, which includes the yellowjacket and hornet, are the most well-known wasps. They are eusocial wasps that live in a nest with an egg-laying queen and non-reproducing workers. All species of social wasps use some type of plant fiber, usually wood pulp, to build their nests. This material may be augmented with mud, plant resin, and the secretions from wasps themselves. 168. Wasps are considered household pests when these wasp nests are constructed near to the anthropogenic settlements. When wasps sting people while they are looking for sugar and carbohydrates, which make up a significant amount of their diet during the fall or autumn season, wasps come into close contact with humans and come into conflict with them. Wasps have a variety of ecological tasks to play. To meet their own or the needs of their nests, several species function as pollinators or predators. Wasps prey on other insects like grasshoppers, flies, and other small insects when they are predatory in nature. They are also regarded as a severe honeybee pest because they assault beehives to steal food that is high in protein for their young. Wasp nests built within or adjacent to dwellings, such as in attics, can be dangerous because the wasps may sting if people approach them. Stings are often painful rather than harmful, but in rare instances, a person may experience a potentially fatal anaphylactic shock. Classification. Kingdom, Animalia phylum, Arthropoda class, Hexapoda insecta order, Hymenoptera family, Vesipodi. Types. 1. Yellow paper wasp Pholistes versicolor. The bright yellow bands on the thorax and abdomen of this social wasp are well known. Female faces are triangular, but male skulls are more square and light in color. P. versicolor has a black body with conspicuous yellow bands on the thorax and abdomen, as well as bright yellow wings, on both the male and female. Females can only be distinguished from one another by size. Under building overhangs, a thin paper nest comb with a hexagonal shape and a petiole-like connection is frequently spotted. 169. The P. versicolor nest is often a single, exposed comb made of chewed vegetable fiber that is connected to the substrate by a single petiole. New colonies and nests are often established by a group of females. Female associations are in charge of making new colonies and nests successful. Habit and habitat. The yellow paper wasp regularly constructs its nests on organic materials such as leaves, branches, roots, stones, and even the remains of other social wasp species' abandoned nests. In certain cases, the wasp lays its eggs in the abandoned nests of other species rather than its own. These wasps coexist closely with human communities. These wasps can have several nests in an area with even a modest human population. Damage. Yellow paper wasps seek a variety of advantages from nesting in human-made structures in metropolitan areas, such as a reduction in interspecific competition, protection from varied climatic conditions, and safety from vertebrate predators. Paper wasps eat nectar and pollen, but they also feed the larvae of their colonies on invertebrates like caterpillars. Wasps can be a serious issue, especially in the summer. In the spring, these sociable insects begin to build their nests and lay their eggs. The majority of wasp nests are built nearby, so wasps can be seen flying inside homes and can sting people if they come in contact with them. 2. Asian giant hornet wasp Vespa mandarinia. It is the biggest hornet wasp in the world, as its name says. Its unparalleled size and distinctive markings allow it to be easily differentiated from other Asian hornet species. The head, thorax, and abdomen all have different densities of setae hairs. These hornets feature ocelli in addition to compound eyes, just as other Hymenoptera. The presence of stingers distinguishes female reproductives, queen, and non-reproductive workers from stingless males. The stinger is smooth and over a centimeter long. Habit and habitat. Native to Japan, the Asian gigantic hornet has since expanded to a number of other Asian countries, where it has thrived in both temperate and tropical conditions. Finding colonies of Asian giant hornets can be difficult because they frequently construct their nests underground. Typically, hornets may hunt for sites near decaying tree roots, dig nests in the ground, or live in tunnels that have previously been dug by other animals like rats. Damage. With its sting, this wasp may kill humans and decimate numerous insect populations, most notably managed and wild honeybee populations. Persons who are allergic to the venom of stinging insects should be concerned because V. mandarinia has been associated to severe 170 reactions in people who are not considered anaphylactic or allergic. This hornet's defensive behavior puts individuals at risk for developing potentially fatal medical conditions. According to estimates, about 40 people in Japan per year pass away after being stung. Kidney failure, anaphylactic shock, heart attacks, and multiple organ failure, often as a result of numerous stings, have all been implicated in these deaths. In China, this wasp species was responsible for more than 1,700 injuries and fatalities, Stenkus 2020. When there are accidents that require hospitalization. 3. European hornet wasp Vespa crabro. Workers of European hornets can reach a length of up to an inch 25 millimeters, while queens can reach a length of 1.3 inches 35 millimeters. They are among the largest wasp species, only behind the huge Asian hornet that was previously mentioned. The two categories are interchangeable but can be distinguished by morphological characteristics. In contrast to Asian hornet wasps, which have a black thorax with yellow spots, an entirely yellow head and abdomen, and yellow, black, and brown bands, European hornets have a red and brown thorax, a red and yellow head, and an abdomen that is predominantly yellow posteriorly with brown teardrops on the anterior side. Habit and habitat. The European hornet builds paper nests like other hornets and yellow jackets. Contrary to bald-faced hornets and yellow jackets, which commonly build paper nests in the ground and enormous, exposed nests in trees, European hornets build their nests in protected aerial spaces, such as hollows in large, standing trees and occasionally in the wall voids of houses. Similar to other social wasps, European hornets construct annual nests. According to this, only the fertilized queens are left to establish nests the following year after the nest and its workers die in the fall. Damage. Compared to honeybee stings, European hornet stings are not as painful despite their size. In contrast to honeybees, European hornets may sting repeatedly and have smooth stingers. Unless the person is allergic to bee and wasp stings or has received multiple stings, European hornet stings should go away on their own in 1 to a few hours without causing any harm. Killing or catching and releasing hornets is the best immediate management for hornets that overwinter in homes during the winter and spring, for example, using a glass and some paper or cardboard. 4. Yellow jacket wasp, Vespula germanica, while queens can reach lengths of up to 18 millimeters, all sterile female V. germanica workers are only about 13 millimeters, 1/2 inch long. The 171. Abdomen of the yellow jacket normally has a series of black spots running down both sides from the second to the fifth abdominal segments, as well as a small spade-shaped black mark on the first segment. It is black and yellow in color. Most of the wasp species are known to construct annual nests as large portion of the colony. The sterile workers die during the autumn season. The German yellow jacket wasps reuse the old nest. Habit and habitat. There are numerous populations of German yellow jackets in and around anthropogenic communities. It frequently builds nests inside of structures. In addition to urban and suburban regions, it can be found in rural constructions. Damage. Yellow jackets, on the other hand, feed on other insects as well as forage for meat, bringing them into contact and into conflict with people. In addition, although yellow jacket stings have caused numerous injuries to people, no deaths have yet been associated with them. Each year, a number of people get stung by these wasps throughout the summer, when they become a severe nuisance. 9.6 Carpet beetle. Carpet beetles, as their name implies, sometimes infest carpets. The pests prey on numerous other materials made of wool, fur, felt, silk, feathers, skins, and leather, just like clothes moths do. These substances include keratin, a fibrous animal protein that the larva can consume. Cotton and synthetic textiles, like polyester and rayon, are generally resistant to attack, unless they are extensively stained with body oils or combined with wool. Unnoticed carpet beetle infestations can spread and destroy delicate things. Homes frequently have carpet beetles, and clothes moth damage is sometimes mistaken for carpet beetle damage. Identification. The adults are tiny, 1/16 to 1/8 inch, oval-shaped beetles with a variety of mottled patterns in white, brown, yellow, and orange in addition to black. Adult carpet beetles don't harm wool or other materials since they eat flower pollen for food. They frequently develop on windowsills in the spring, which could indicate that there is an infestation within the house. About 50 to 100 eggs are laid by female beetles on or close to weak materials. Breeding habitats can range from the overt, like a wool rug kept in a closet, to the covert, such as pet hair accumulations near baseboards, air vents, and ducts. Kingdom, Animalia. 172. Phylum, Arthropoda class, Hexapoda, Insecta order, Coleoptera family, Dermestidae. Types. 1. Varied carpet beetle, Anthrenus verbaceae, is a common house and museum pest. It is a little 1.5–3.5 millimeters spherical beetle with scales on its elytra, wing casings that form a pattern of white, orange, and black patches. Head is the small and mostly concealed behind the upper thorax. Large and dark eyeballs can be seen. The antennae are clubbed, with the two bottom segments bulging and the three top segments creating the club. Anthrenus musorum is a similarly related museum beetle, with rust-colored legs and a black body with some orange dots. Habit and habitat. The larva can also be found in the nests of birds and mammals. They are typically domestic pests of woolen products or museum pests. The adults often can be seen on windowsills in homes, seeking to get outside, and they visit flowers to eat pollen and nectar. Damage. Due to their ravenous appetites, carpet beetle larvae can seriously harm dried insect and animal collections as well as woolens. They don't exclusively consume synthetic textiles for food. The only Anthrenus species that can also be found in food-stored goods is the diverse carpet beetle. 2. Two-spotted carpet beetle, Etagenus peleo. One of the most prevalent species of carpet beetles is the two-spot carpet beetle, also known as the fur beetle. The adult is a very dark brown to black beetle that is 4.56 millimeters long with two white spots on the wing cases. Habit and habitat. Its larvae are often found in old houses associated with birds' nests. It is also a well-known pest of museums with natural history collections. 173. Damage. The keratin-containing materials that the larvae consume include wool, fur, feathers, skins, leather, silk, and dried insects. Plant products like cereals and fibers can occasionally come under attack. They have the potential to destroy huge apparel retailers by drilling holes in the fabric, beginning at the seams. The larvae of this pest are among the most feared museum pests because they can obliterate insect, bird, and mammal collections. 3. Brown carpet beetle, Etagenus smirnovi. Brown carpet beetles, commonly referred to as vodka beetles, are typical museum and small-scale domestic pests. Adults have oval bodies that are 2 to 5 millimeters long and 2 to 2.5 millimeters wide. Their base color is black, and their thick hairs produce brown to reddish-yellow elytra, wing cases. The adult beetles can fly, are mobile, and spend the majority of their time active throughout the day. Habit and habitat. They are often found on windowsills, seeking light, and also seeking food sources for the larvae, where females will lay their eggs. Damage. Larvae of carpet beetles consume animal products, particularly wool, felt, fur, silk, feathers, and leather. Items including sweaters, scarves, coats, blankets, rugs, down comforters, furniture, toys, home accents, and taxidermy mounts are frequently attacked. When objects are kept for extended periods of time in closets, chests, or boxes, the larvae frequently feed among the folds of the fabric, hems, collars, cuffs, etc. Regularly worn clothing and blankets hardly ever experience attack. The same is true of regularly swept rugs. Rug and carpet edges and bottoms are more prone to be contaminated than exposed sections. Small, clean holes that are not followed by strands of silk webbing, as is typically the case with clothes moth infestations, and have droppings that resemble powdery dust can be used to identify clothing and carpets that have been impacted by the larvae of these beetles. Another obvious indicator of infestation is the cast, which are the transparent skins the larva exoskeleton. 9.7 Furniture beetle. One of the most troublesome wood-eating pests in the world is the common furniture beetle. These wood-boring insects can significantly impair the strength of the infected woods as the actual damage is caused inside the timber, where it goes undiscovered and untreated for several years. Adult beetles emerge through exit or flight holes after spending their larval stage inside the wood, which is a common sign of damaged wood. Woodworms are the larval stage of woodboring or furniture beetles. In India, primarily 5 woodworm beetles species cause 174 significant damage to the timber. Some of these are more destructive than others, and each has a different life cycle, favorite wood they infest, and levels of damage they may produce. Classification. Kingdom, Animalia phylum, Arthropoda class, Hexapoda insecta order, Coleoptera family, Tinidae. Types. 1. Common furniture beetle Anobium punctatum. Beetles are 2.55 mm long and dull reddish to dark brown in color as adults. Their antennae, which are shorter than their legs and have 3 flattened segments at the tip, have small grooves running lengthwise along them. The upper portion of the thorax, which is severely humped, conceals the head. Habit and habitat. It prefers ivy and grows on dry wood of coniferous and deciduous trees, furniture and woodwork in homes, shops, and warehouses. Rather than furniture, these beetles cause more damage to structural timber and woodwork, such as in the attic. Damage. These beetles target dried out sapwood rather than live or new wood. Anobium punctatum, or woodworm, frequently destroys structural wood like floorboards and wood-framed roofs. Hardwood is typically avoided. If left unchecked, furniture bugs can seriously harm structural timbers. The larvae of furniture beetles, often known as woodworms, will devour both seasoned hardwoods and softwoods that are at least 10 years old. Adult furniture beetles do not eat wood. In order to provide the emerging larvae with an immediate food source, furniture beetles prefer to lay their eggs in fissures in wood framework, flooring, and furniture. 2. House longhorn beetle Hylotroops bahulus. The mature beetle has a range of 8 to 25 mm in length. The beetle has 2 pale pubescent spots on its elytra and is black or brown in 175. Color. These beetles can spend up to 11 years as larvae inside wooden buildings, tunneling there depending on the age, texture, and moisture. Habit and habitat. These beetles are cosmopolitan in their distribution and are present in new houses infesting soft and aged timber during their larval stages. Damage. Old and weathered lumber is infested with longhorn beetles. The larvae make a lot of cylindrical pellet-containing boar dust, also known as frass. This can sometimes be seen in the surface woods, blistered appearance. 3. Deathwatch beetle Zestobium rufovolosum. The length of these insects varies from 5 to 9 mm. Their heads and bodies are cylindrical, which is a trait of species that bore into wood. When viewed from above the beetle, the top of the thorax typically conceals the head. The common furniture beetle Anobium punctatum, which is smaller and has longitudinal rows of pits on its elytra, might be mistaken for adult deathwatch beetles. Habit and habitat. The beetle is located outside in the deadwood of trees. It can be a pest of structural wood and furniture indoors. Females place their eggs in tiny divots in trees or on wood. After developing inside the wood while feeding, the larvae eventually start to pupate in a pupation chamber. Following pupation, the adult beetle tunnels out of the wood, leaving distinctive exit holes that can be used to locate them. Damage. The existence of holes in indoor wood is the main sign of these beetles, which can cause damage. The round holes and tunnels have a 3 mm diameter. Around the openings, the larvae leave behind unique little pellets of feces, frass, that resemble buns. 4. Powder post beetle Lictus brunnius family Bostrichidae. Although adult beetles typically appear in the summer, they can be found all year long in heated buildings. The adults range in size from 3 to 5 mm and are fairly flattened with reddish-brown coloring. Habit and habitat. The larval stage of these beetles occurs inside the various types of timber found in wood yards and new furniture, however they are primarily spotted on dead wood. Damage. These beetles primarily attack wood yards and can easily get inside household furnishings. The larva gradually degrades the quality of wood by feeding on sap wood and producing a powdery material. The infected wood weakens over time and can be broken with light disturbance. Their infestation is frequently mistaken for a termite infestation because they produce a powdery material. 176. 9.8 book lice. Usually measuring 1 mm, book lice are tiny, soft-bodied, light-colored, gray, or brown insects. Most species of indoor book louse lack wings. The abdomen and head are both enormous, while the thorax, or center, is slender. Book lice have long, segmented antennae, a big face, and paired eating mouthparts, unlike the long straw-like mouthpart of a bedbug. A huge collection of ancient insects called Socophthera is also known as book lice, dust lice, and deathwatches. Book lice are not genuine lice because they do not bite people or other animals and are not external parasites. A suitable title for this group might be Socid, which is short for Socidae, a family of Socophthera. Other socids, such as several types of bark lice, can be found outside. Indoor socids rarely actually cause harm as a group unless they contaminate food that has been preserved, but their abundance can be exceedingly bothersome. The term, book louse, refers to a few species that are associated with books, particularly in environments with higher natural humidity levels like houses and libraries, where mildew growth on book bindings and pages occurs more frequently. Socids are believed to mostly consume minute molds, but they are also capable of attacking a wide range of foods, both of plant and animal origin. Species of book lice that live indoors may eat coated papers, wallpaper, starched book bindings, or molds that are growing on starchy surfaces. Classification. Types. The book louse, which are very little, 1 mm long, wingless, and resemble tiny moving whitish to yellowish specks, include Liposcelis divinatoria, Liposcelis corrodens, Socophthera, Liposcelidae, and similar species like L. bostrichophila that are frequently found indoors. Other, less frequent species of indoor socids, including the small-winged southern house socid, Socotropos microps enderline, Socophthera, Silipsocidae, have wings and actively leap when startled. Habit and habitat. Book lice, also known as sosids, are common in a wide range of settings, including residences, warehouses, herbaria, bug collections, libraries, and facilities used for food. 177. Storage. Especially if they are maintained in a moist environment, they are frequently spotted scuttling through books and papers. Damage. Book lice are not actual lice and do not bite on people. Book lice typically cause very little damage. They can turn out to be really uncomfortable if they begin to crawl all over the house. Book lice typically eat tiny molds, but on occasion they will also consume the sizing of paper that has been kept in warm, humid conditions. Any man-made material derived from plants, such as furniture, paper, books, etc., may encourage the formation of mold or mildew and encourage book louse infestations when kept in moist environments. A few species of book lice are also known to infest grains including rice, wheat, and maize that are kept. 9.9 Summary. Many species of insects have the ability to invade or remain permanently in and around human household. Aside from agricultural and animal commodities, these insect species cause irritation in a variety of ways, including resting on sensitive part of our body, biting and causing pain, making irritating noise, damaging the household furniture and food, etc. Damage incurred by most of the household pests like cockroaches, ants, wasps include nuisance and painful bites. Whereas, others like carpet beetle, book lice and furniture beetle cause damage to different human possessions inside household. Arthropod species are most widely distributed among any other animal phyla on the earth. Their small, generous yet peculiar feeding habits have largely contributed in developing relationships with several plants and other animals in one way or another. This generosity in their habit and habitats make arthropods a direct competitor to others for different natural resources. Thus, arthropods also become a problem or nuisance for humans in one or the other way. Arthropods, mainly insects, share a variety of natural resources with human and are considered as serious pests of these commodities. One such commodity is the livestock or farm animals. There are several insect and arachnid species that spend all or some portion of their lives affecting the well-being of livestock, poultry, or companion animals. Arthropods associated with livestock, poultry, and companion animals cause problems in a variety of direct and indirect ways. Direct damage by parasitic arthropods ranges from bite irritation, blood loss, tissue consumption and damage, and toxic and allergic reaction to arthropod venoms and feeding antigens. Indirect damage may be caused by introduction of pathogens, nuisance leading to stress and annoyance, self-inflicted wounds from scratching and pest avoidance, and in creating susceptibility to other infestations. The repercussions of arthropod attack and annoyance on cattle, poultry, and companion animals result in decreased productivity, animal well-being, and profitability. Animals use more energy to replenish lost blood, heal damaged tissue, and engage in avoidance behavior, which limits grazing activity, resulting in lower weight gains and feed efficiency. Arthropod-affected animals frequently exhibit indicators of decreased vigor and bodily condition, which can impair their appeal and profitable sale values. 181. The two classes of organisms in the phylum Arthropoda of importance to livestock, poultry, and companion animals include arachnida, scorpions, mites, ticks, spiders, and insecta, insects. Insects make up 70% to 75% of all known animal species. Within the class arachnida, mites and ticks are of the most veterinary importance. Most mite species are free-living, but some are parasitic on wild and domestic animals, such as mange mites on livestock and mites that attack poultry. All tick species are parasites of vertebrate animals. Within the class Insecta, there are 4 orders of insects that are of primary importance as pests of domestic animals. These include Phyraphthora, Anoptera, sucking lice, and Melophaga, chewing lice, Siphonoptera, fleas, Hemiptera, true bugs, and Diptera, true flies. All species of Phyraphthora, including Anoptera and Melophaga, and Siphonoptera are parasites of vertebrate animals. There are various types of sucking and chewing lice that are parasitic on domestic animals. Most lice species are host-specific, meaning they only live on one or a few closely related host species. There are various flea species in Siphonoptera that affect household animals. Only a few species, however, are of great veterinary relevance. A few Hemiptera species, for example, bed bugs, are parasitic on vertebrate animals. As adults, several Diptera suckers blood and are significant pests of both humans and livestock, e.g., mosquitoes, black flies, horse and deer flies, stable flies, horn flies, sheepheads. Other Diptera cause injury in their larval stages by entering mammalian flesh and tissue, e.g., cattle grubs, horse bots, sheep nose bot, screwworms. 10.3 Blood-sucking flies. Systematic position. Kingdom Animalia. Phylum Arthropoda, class Hexapoda, Insecta, order Diptera. Suborder Nematocera and Brachycera. 182. The blood-sucking flies belong to the order Diptera, which is one of the largest order in class Insecta. The order contains the most numerous and diverse species of insects that have economic importance as veterinary pests. True fly species are the member of this order. Most true flies from Diptera are small and soft-bodied insects. Several of these fly species are considered to be significant pests of both free-ranging and confined cattle. Flies affecting domestic animals range from small biting flies to larger species, wingless ectoparasites, larvae that invade animal tissue, to non-biting flies. Several of these insects are known to be the vectors for transmitting diseases, whereas few others act as bloodsuckers to livestock. The order Diptera has been divided into 2 suborders, Nematocera and Brachycera. The blood-sucking flies have been categorized into different families of 2 suborders, namely, Nematocera and Brachycera. The suborder Nematocera, which includes tiny flies with long, narrow wings and long antennae formed of multiple segments, is thought to be the most primordial Diptera. Nematocera larvae are aquatic, free-swimming, or live under rocks, and have well-developed head capsules. Among the more notable families in this suborder of veterinary importance include the Ceratopagonidae, biting midges, Culicidae, mosquitoes, Simuliidae, black flies, and Psychodidae, sand flies, moth flies. The second suborder Brachycera is comparatively bigger with almost 120 families of flies. In contrast to the earlier, number of antennal segments are reduced in Brachycera. Insects belonging to this suborder has short and club-shaped antennae. Brachycera of veterinary importance include three infraorders: Tabanomorpha, Acylomorpha and Muscomorpha. The Tabanomorpha include Tabanidae, horse flies, deer flies, and Stratiumidae, soldier flies, the two families which are of significant veterinary importance. Flies in this group are usually larger, robust flies. Larvae have a head capsule that is relatively incomplete and often retracted into a fleshy body. The second infraorder Acylomorpha does not carry any veterinary significance. Whereas, the third infraorder, Muscomorpha, has several families of important veterinary pests. Some of the serious veterinary pests like housefly, stable fly, hornfly family, Mussidae, tsetse fly, Glossinidae, louse flies, Hypobosidae, blowflies, Caliphoridae, flesh flies, Sarcophagidae, horse spots, Gasterophilidae, cattle grubs 183. Hypodermididae, rodent bots, Cuterberidae, and sheep nose bot, Estridae, all have been categorized under infraorder Muscomorpha. Adults in this group have three segmented aerostate antennae. The wing venation is somewhat reduced as compared to the Nematocera and Tabanomorpha. Larvae have no definite head capsule. 10.3.1 Causes, mode of parasitism. Using their piercing sucking mouthparts, blood-sucking flies feed on blood by puncturing the skin of their hosts. These flies are among the most important arthropod taxa associated with animal health and production from a commercial standpoint. More than half of the estimated yearly losses to livestock output attributed to arthropods are attributable to blood-sucking flies, which include direct losses from exsanguination and animal discomfort as well as indirect losses from pathogenic organism transfer and secondary sickness. Some of the most significant blood-sucking flies, disease and their management are discussed as following. 10.3.2 Disease, affected host. 1. Suborder Nematocera, infraorder Muscomorpha. Mosquitoes family, Culicidae. Over 3,000 species of mosquitoes occur worldwide. Two subfamilies of the mosquito family, Culicidae, are of primary medical and veterinary importance: Anophelinae, e.g., Anopheles, and Culicinae, e.g., Aedes, Ochlorotatus, Sorphora, Culex, Culiceta, Cochietidia, and others. Disease host. Mosquitoes' preferences for hosts vary widely. Few species prefer avian hosts, while yet others will almost exclusively consume amphibian or reptilian blood as a food source. Some species prefer mammalian blood. Mosquitoes act as vectors for a wide range of disease pathogens and are a direct cause of discomfort and blood loss in cattle and companion animals. They may obstruct grazing and typical animal behavior. An increase in scratching after being bitten by a mosquito can lead to secondary infections, hair loss, and skin abrasions. The majority of household animals serve as mosquito hosts. The diseases spread by mosquitoes that harm domestic animals range from nematodes to viruses, such as encephalitis, the West Nile virus, and Rift Valley sickness, e.g., dog heartworm. 184. Black flies family, Simuliidae. Disease host. Black fly buffalo gnats or turkey gnats feed as bloodsuckers on poultry, cattle, swine, sheep, goats, horses, and other animals and are of significant veterinary importance. They typically feed on the legs, abdomen, head, and ears. Simulium viditum, for example, is frequently seen eating in the ears of horses, cattle, swine, sheep, and other animals, producing pain, scabbing, and irritation. S. meridionale, often known as the turkey gnat, feeds extensively on the comb and wattles of poultry. Black flies have also been linked to disease transmission in animals, serving as vectors for filarial nematodes, Onchocerca, that cause bovine onchocerciasis, and protozoans, leukocytozoon, that cause leukocytozoonosis in poultry. Severe infestation with large numbers of black flies sometimes can cause animal death. Largely the death in livestock animals by black fly infestation can be attributed to acute toxemia by fly bites. The fly bites can be painful and cause considerable annoyance and decreased productivity. 2. Suborder Brachycera, infraorder Tabanomorpha, horse, deer flies, family, Tabanidae. Disease host. Horse and deer flies are widespread pests of livestock and companion animals, particularly cattle and horses kept outside. They are notorious for their terrible bites and relentless bothering of animals. Their mouthparts are strong and bladder-like, capable of causing deep, painful, bleeding cuts and lapping up blood that pools on the surface. Tabanid infestations can cause calves to grow less weight, produce less milk, and cause direct skin irritation. Tabanid flies are also known to act as vector for different disease-causing pathogen of veterinary importance including viruses, equine infectious anemia, bovine leukemia, hog cholera bacteria, rickettsia, Anaplasma marginale, Francisella tularensis, Bacillus anthracis protozoa, Trypanosoma sp, and nematodes, Aleophora sp. 3. Suborder Brachycera, infraorder Muscomorpha. 185. Stable fly, Stomoxyscalcitrans family, Mussidae. Stable flies are extremely bothersome pests of domestic and livestock animals and cause severe bites. Disease host. Stable flies generally feed on lower portions of animal bodies, like on the legs and undersides. However, flies can also be observed on head and ears in smaller animals. The main issues are blood loss and animal disturbance. Animals that are being attacked will stomp and kick in order to avoid getting bitten. They are tenacious and powerful flyers, capable of pursuing host animals for several kilometers. Although stable flies are not a major vector of animal infections, they have been implicated as vectors of retroviruses, equine infectious anemia in horses, bovine leukosis in cattle, nematodes, and parasites, Haberoma microstoma that causes habronemiasis in horses, and a blood parasite Eperythrozoon sways in swine. Horn fly, Hematobia irritans family, Muscidite. The horn fly is a serious pest of pasture and is regarded as such by cattle. Disease host. Horn flies feed on cattle several times a day and their numbers on a single host can range from 1,000 to 4,000 or more. Such heavy infestation causes a significant blood loss to the host animal. Horn fly infestations cause pain and annoyance, which affects animal behavior and grazing time. Heavy infestation might result in decreased weight increase and feed efficiency. An economic threshold level of 200 horn flies per animal has been recorded. Horn flies have been implicated in the spread of the worm Staphylophilarius stilesi, which causes granular dermatitis on cattle skin. Tsetse fly, Glossina sp. Glossinidae. Females and males both feed on blood. Tsetse flies are particularly important as vectors of the protozoan Trypanosoma brucei, which causes nagana and bovine trypanosomiasis. Affected animals become anemic, feeble, and their growth is stunted. Infected animals are unfit for human consumption. Direct consequences and/or secondary infection can cause premature death. The nagana disease remains a severe impediment to commercial cattle production in more than one-third of Africa. 10.3.3 Control measures. 186. Management practices for the effective control of various blood-sucking fly species in livestock animals mainly involve timely surveillance and diagnostic for the pest species and curative practices, involving use of different pesticides. Constant monitoring for the occurrence of different blood-sucking flies should be done by close inspection of livestock. The use of insecticides has become an integral part of an integrated fly pest management program. They can be used for fly control in several ways. Application methods include space area sprays, residual sprays, on-animal sprays, baits, larvicides, and oral treatments. Self-application devices that include insecticide dust bags and back rubbers, oilers can be effective for horn flies and face flies. These devices need to be in a forced use treatment situation where the animals make contact with them daily. Placing them in a path to water or salt mineral source and positioning them so cattle will rub them onto their heads and down their backs will provide the most effective control. Insecticide-impregnated ear tag devices are also available and can provide effective control of horn flies and aid in the control of face flies. In these ear tags, the insecticide is in the matrix of the tag. As the insecticide leaches to the surface of the tag, it rubs onto the hair coat of the animal, providing fly control. There are numerous trade names and designs currently marketed containing pyrethroid and organophosphate insecticides. Depending on the product, 1 or 2 tags are recommended for installing per animal. Other methods available for fly control on pastured cattle are the use of insecticide pour-on treatments, oral bolus treatments, or insecticide feed additive mineral supplements. With insecticide pour-on treatments, the pour-on product, which is generally formulated as a ready-to-use product, is applied from the pole of the head down the backline to the tail head using an applicator gun or device. 10.4 Myiasis flies. Myiasis is the invasion of organs and/or tissues of living vertebrates by the larval stages of flies, Diptera. It includes the process of consuming the host's necrotic or dead tissues. In myiasis, various fly species are involved. Myiasis is a type of parasitism that can seriously affect animals, result in death, and in some circumstances have less severe consequences that leave little to no tissue damage. 187. Systematic position of flies involved in myiasis. Most of the fly species, causing myiasis in different types of livestock are categories under the unranked taxon of Cyclorrhea in infraorder Muscomorpha of suborder Brachycera under the order Diptera of class Hexapoda. Flies involved in different types of myiasis like screwworm flies and blowflies belong to the family Caliphoridae, whereas horsebot fly, sheepbot fly and rodentbot fly belongs to the family Estridae. All of these fly families have been categorized under the superfamily Estroidea. Furthermore, myiasis can also be classified clinically according to tissue invaded by the fly larva or in terms of the host-parasite relationship. Clinical classification. 1. Cutaneous myiasis. In this type of myiasis, infestation by fly larvae in dermal or subdermal tissue of the skin is involved. 2. Traumatic myiasis. It is the type where open or sore wounds are infested by the flies. 3. Gastrointestinal myiasis. It is invasion of the alimentary tract of the host by fly larvae. 4. Enteric myiasis. Invasion of the intestinal tract of the host is known as enteric myiasis. 5. Urogenital myiasis. It involves the invasion of urethra or genitalia. 6. Ocular ophthalmic myiasis. It involves eye tissue infection. 7. Nasopharyngeal myiasis. In this type, nasal passages, sinuses and pharyngeal cavities are invaded by the fly larva. 8. Auricular myiasis. It is the invasion of ear cavity. 9. Furuncular myiasis. In this type, fly larva forms boils or burrows in their hosts. Classification of myiasis on the basis of host-parasite relationship. 188. 1. Accidental myiasis. This type of myiasis generally occurs due to the contamination of ingested food by fly eggs or larvae. In such cases, non-parasitic flies pass through the alimentary tract of the host. 2. Facultative myiasis. This is also known as secondary myiasis. In this type, fly develops in living as well as dead host. Flies feed on either dead or living tissues nearby to a wound and open sore. X. Blowfly. 3. Obligatory myiasis. Sometimes refers to as primary myiasis occurs when the fly species directly feeds on the living tissues and depends upon the living hosts to complete its development. 10.4.1 Cause, mode of parasitism. The maggots that feed on the dead tissue of living animals in open wounds, chronic nasopharyngeal or urogenital wounds attract these flies. In addition, they will invade wounds caused by husbandry procedures including dehorning, castration, branding, and shearing as well as other procedures that can put the host to In addition, they will invade wounds caused by husbandry procedures including dehorning, castration, branding, and shearing as well as other procedures that can put the host tissue under stress. Seepage from medical procedures can also lead to infestation. Some species live in the same wounds that the primary screwworm feeds on, as well as feeding sores brought on by ticks. Blowflies are attracted to and lay their eggs on sheepskin that has been contaminated by dung, urine, blood, or body fluids. These species are known as fleeceworms and wool maggots when they infest sheep. 10.4.2 Disease-affected host. Several diseases and infections are caused by a wide array of myiasis flies. Such diseases and their respective host are discussed under following. Screwworm, Cochleomia hominivorax family, Calliphoridae domestic animals, particularly cattle and other livestock, are severely affected by the screwworm infestation. Screwworm larvae consume their host's live tissue directly. Infestations typically begin on warm-blooded animals' exposed wounds. Deep scratches, insect bites, lacerations, and wounds from castration, dehorning, branding, and shearing are just a few examples of infected wounds. If left unnoticed, screwworm infestation can result in death through tissue and important organ 189. Deterioration as well as subsequent diseases. Usually the host is physically eaten alive by screwworm maggots. A self-perpetuating infestation results from the feeding damage, which draws more gravid female screwworm flies to lay additional eggs. Cattle grubs family. Estradiate. These flies can cause damaged hides, decreased weight growth, meat damage due to excessive loss of fat from body by trimming and carcass downgrading at slaughter. Self-injury among terrified calves who run away from adult female flies is also common. Gadding is the term for this panicky conduct. Cattle will also stand in ponds and streams and seek for dense foliage in addition to their irregular running behavior to avoid the flies. Horse bot flies family. Estradiate. The size and coloring of adult Gasterophilus bot flies superficially resemble honeybees. Equids frequently have infestations, at least at some points in their lives. Light infections frequently don't harm the host much. Bots, however, can hurt their host in a variety of ways and raise serious concerns. Adult female bot fly oviposition behavior can cause obvious distress and panic in the host mammal. In their avoidance behavior, horses frequently have aggressive reactions to ovipositing females and hurt themselves or others. First instar bot larvae can irritate the mouth and cause loose teeth, pus pockets, and appetite loss after entering the mouth through the mouth. Inflammation, tissue sloughing, ulcerations, nodular mucosal and stomach growth, abscesses, peritonitis, and problems with digestion may result from larvae passing through the esophagus and stomach and attaching to the inner surface of the gastrointestinal mucosa and stomach wall. Flesh fly family, Sarcophagidae. At fur farms, this fly is known to parasitize fox and mink. They have occasionally been discovered on humans, dogs, cats, and rabbits, among other animals. Young animals commonly die from infestations. At some ranches, mink kits have been lost at rates as high as 30%. At these ranches, May and June are the months that young animals are most in need of protection. Vigil can cause their host to lose their appetite, experience a fever, and become agitated while developing boil-like sores. Even 5 larvae per animal might cause significant losses. Rodent bots, Cuterbra sp. Family, Estradiate. The majority of the species in the genus Cuterbra are rodent and rabbit parasites, though they can infrequently infect dogs and cats as 190. Well, the infestation is not significant, yet few of such infestations have been known to kill young cats and dogs. These bot larvae produce a warble that contains a thin coating of necrotic tissue. Blowflies family, Calliphoridae. Different species of flies are categorized or commonly known as blowflies. Green bottle flies, Lucilia sp. Blue bottle flies, Calliphora sp. Black blowfly, Formia regina. Secondary screwworm, Cochleomia micellaria. Hairy maggot blowfly, Chrysomia rufifacies. Despite merely feeding on dead tissue, blowfly larvae and wool maggots can seriously damage animals. Larva-induced cutaneous irritation results in skin secretions and subsequent bacterial infections. This may accelerate the infestation spread throughout the body of the host. Additionally, it draws more female blowflies to lay their eggs on the host. In sheep, heavily contaminated areas frequently experience wool loss. Blowfly and wool maggot infestations can significantly reduce animal growth and productivity if they are left untreated. Wool loss may be substantial. Animals with severe injuries may pass away. 10.4.3 Control measures. Avoiding contact between possible hosts and myiasis-causing flies, treating wounds promptly to prevent myiasis, and reducing or eliminating myiasis fly populations are the 3 main methods for controlling myiasis. In general, sanitation and medical or surgical intervention are heavily relied upon. The most typical strategy used in veterinary instances is the administration of the host with systemic insecticides, particularly those that target the parasite larva. The removal of carrion that may attract flies, prompt treatment of open wounds to minimize fly infestation and limiting injuries during the peak fly season are the key prevention strategies for 191. The management of myiasis in cattle and domestic animals. An integrated pest management program may also make use of biological control agents, such as parasitic pteromalid wasps that infest fly pupae and the physical removal of adult flies via trapping. Regular examination of animals to find and treat all wounds, deep burial or cremation of carrion, restricting dehorning, castrating, and branding to off-fly seasons, removing sharp objects and other materials that can cause wounds, such as horns, barbed wire, and thorny shrubs, and effective tick and fly control are among the husbandry practices that can help to lower the incidence of myiasis. Applying a salve, such as ointments or smears, can help stop fly strikes or eliminate any existing maggots. Smears include insecticides like benzol or lindale as well as repellents like pine tar oil. To avoid the negative effects of crushing the larva inside the warble, which might result in an allergic reaction, hydrogen peroxide has been directly pumped into warbles to eliminate them in an antiseptic manner. One popular method of applying pesticides to farm animals to protect them from flies that cause myiasis is the use of ear tags impregnated with insecticidal formulations. In a similar manner, ankle bands with insecticide embedded in them that are fastened around the hind legs of animals have also been employed to control these flies. Systemic insecticides can also be administered by injection, applied to the back as pour-ons to be absorbed by the bloodstream, as bolus is placed in the animal's stomach to provide slow release of systemic compounds, or in mineral blocks, salt licks, for ad libitum consumption by livestock. 10.5 LICE. Domestic animal lice are host-specific, persistently required ectoparasites. They reside on their host for their entire life. There are 3 life phases for lice: the egg, the nymph, and the adult. 3 nymphal phases are present. To spend their whole life cycle on their host, lice are highly adapted. Adult lice are tiny, ranging in length from 0.5 to 8 millimeters, dorsoventrally flattened, and wingless. They have modified tarsi and legs for slipping through fur, hair, and feathers. Individual eggs laid by adult female lice are permanently attached to their host's hair or feathers. 192. Systematic position. Lice belong to the order Phyraphthora, which is further divided into 2 taxa, namely, Anoplura and Melophaga. The first taxonomic group, Anoplura, is classified as a suborder and consists of sucking lice. Whereas, the Melophaga contains chewing or biting lice and has been further categorized into 3 orders, namely Amblycera, Ischnicera and Rhinocaphthorina. 10.5.1 Cause, mode of parasitism. Melophaga lice adults have mandibles that can be used for chewing. These lice feed off of their host's various skin, hair, or feather fragments. Some animals will consume blood that leaks from skin scrapes or from rasping and sucking mouthparts. Chewing lice consume both mammals and birds as food sources. The sucking lice known as Anoplura only eat mammals. The head is little, slender, and lengthy. Their mouth parts have been altered to pierce human skin. 3 stylets that pierce the skin and a sucking tube for ingesting the blood meal make up the mouthpieces. The mouthpieces are retracted into the head within a modified snout like labrum while the animal is at rest. To cling to the host during feeding, its snout has tiny hook-like teeth. 10.5.2 Disease-affected host. As with the hog louse, different chewing and sucking lice species exhibit a key host specialization that can range from one host species to some lice species parasitizing 2 or more closely related species. The horse-sucking louse parasitizes horses, donkeys, and mules, while dog lice may infest other canines like foxes, wolves, and coyotes. Under such species, the infection and diseases spread by lice species have been covered individually. Cattle lice. Cattle biting louse, Bovicola bovis, suborder, Ischnicera, family, Trichodectinae, the back line, shoulders, and base of the tail are common locations for these lice. Populations of louse frequently spread to different areas of the body as their numbers rise. Where intensive 193. Feeding takes place, they are frequently observed in clusters of several lice each. They mostly eat skin scales that have shed, but chewing creates sores on the skin that resemble might-caused mange. Animals that have been infected may have skin that is highly infected, ragged, and discolored. Animals noticeably spend a lot of time licking and rubbing their bodies. Short-nosed cattle louse, Hematoponus uristrinus, suborder, Anoplura, family. Hematoponidae, it is the most frequently observed infesting mature animals, and its population is at its highest during the winter. The top of the neck, dewlap, brisket, base of the horns, and base of the tail are common areas where they can be spotted feeding during the winter. Higher infestation levels may result in anemia and condition loss. Cattle tail louse, Hematoponus quadripertussus, suborder, Anoplura, family. Hematoponidae cattle tail louse populations are mainly found in the long hair surrounding the tail. Tail hairs can become matted with lice eggs during severe infestations, and hair can even fall out of the tail heads. Anemia in cattle may result from severe infestations. The condition, weight gain, vitality, and milk output of cattle are all poor. Long-nosed cattle louse, Linignithus vituli, suborder, Anoplura, family, Linignithidae. This louse rarely infests significant populations of mature animals and is particularly prevalent on calves and dairy cattle. The dewlap and shoulders are the preferred areas for infestation. Economic concerns might arise from this louse, especially in younger animals where it may reduce the effectiveness of weight increase. Little blue louse, Solanops capillatus, suborder, Anoplura, family, Linignithidae. On the dewlap, shoulders, back, tail, and shoulders of mature animals, the small blue louse is typically seen in clusters. Aggregations of this louse frequently encircle the host size in animals that are severely afflicted. The small blue louse, like other bovine lice, can make cattle noticeably agitated and uneasy, leading to skin abrasions and hair loss from scratching. Swine lice. Hog louse, Hematoponus suis, suborder, Anoplura, family, Hematoponidae. Pigs of any age or condition can get hog lice, but weak, underweight animals are more prone to infection. 194. Swine may experience observable irritation and discomfort as a result of hog lice feeding activities. Large amounts of blood can be lost, especially in young animals. Animals that are infected scratch ferociously and brush against feeders, posts, and other items. They have the ability to spread the swinepox virus, a dangerous and potentially fatal condition that affects swine. Additionally, hog lice have been linked to the spread of the viruses that cause African swine fever, hog cholera, and erythrozoonosis. Sheep lice. Sheep-biting louse, Bovicola ovis, suborder, Ischnicera, family, Trichodectinae. Older sheep and animals in poor condition are more likely to be infected by the sheep-biting louse. They can be extremely irritating, prompting sheep to rub abrasively against surfaces and bite and tug at their wool. They feed on skin scurf. Sheep that have been severely affected develop ragged, ripped fleece that frequently has huge sections of wool missing. Sucking lice on sheep, Lineagnathes sp. Suborder, Anoplura, family, Lineagnathidae. The body areas of sheep that different species of sucking lice prefer to infest vary, with L. ovalis favoring the face region and L. petalis favoring the legs. L. africanus, however, can infest any area of the sheep's body. Heavy infections of any of the aforementioned lice can significantly irritate sheep and result in wool loss. On the other hand, deer have been recorded to die from severe infestations. Goat lice. Sucking lice, Lineagnathes stenopsis, suborder, Anoplura, family, Lineagnathidae. In cases of more severe infestations, sucking lice can hinder weight gain and result in anemia. Although severe infestations typically only appear in stressed or ill goats, infestations can cause stunted weaned goats and even occasionally result in infant fatalities. Lice of domestic fowl. Chicken body louse, Mencanthus stramonius, suborder, Amblycera, family. Menoponidae. The most prevalent and economically significant louse species on poultry is the 195. Chicken body louse. Birds suffering from acute irritation from heavy infestations develop skin inflammation and scabs as a result. These lice frequently pierce skin and quills while feeding on the barbs and barbules of feathers. This louse can kill younger, weaker birds by causing feather loss, weight loss, decreased egg production, and other symptoms. Shaft louse, Menopon galenate, suborder, Amblycera, family, Monopnidae. The thigh and breast regions of poultry birds are home to the shaft louse. These lice predominantly feed on the barbs of feathers. Although it rarely poses a severe threat, large infestations can result in the mortality of young birds. Chicken head louse, Cuclotogaster heterographus, suborder, Ischnicera, family. Philopteridae. This louse is commonly found in the skin tissue, detritus, and feathers of their host's head and neck or where it feeds on the blood. Typically, younger birds are more impacted than older ones. Sometimes, severe infestations might be fatal. Wing louse, Lypurus caponis, suborder, Ischnicera, family, Philopteridae. The adult wing louse measures about 2.2 mm length and 0.3 mm wide, and it is elongate and slender. At the base of the wings, the nymphs hatch and eat on their own. Horse-sucking louse, Hematoponus acini, suborder, Anoplura, family, Hematoponidae. The horse-sucking louse is commonly found on the head, neck, back, and inner surface of the thighs. It is generally seen more commonly than infestations of the horse-biting louse, while not being as economically important. This blood-sucking louse can seriously irritate its host during severe infestations. Animals get agitated and degrade physically. Animals appear unhygienic or untidy in appearance. Infested host animals cause damage to their hair coat by constantly rubbing and scratching against various objects. Additionally, with severe infestations, anemia might arise. Lice in cats and dogs. Cat-biting louse, Felicola subrostrata, suborder, Ischnicera, family, Trichodectidae. The only type of louse that frequently affects cats is the cat-biting louse. Although it is uncommon in healthy cats, it can occasionally be observed in elderly, chronically unwell, or malnourished cats. 196. The louse can infest almost any part of the body. Severe itching might occur during heavy infestations. Cats with infestations frequently scratch, causing skin and fur coat damage. Dog-biting louse, Trichodex canis, suborder, Ischnicera, family, Trichodectidae. While not frequently found on healthy animals, the dog-biting louse can occasionally develop severe infestations in malnourished dogs. It might be dangerous, especially for puppies. The head, neck, and tail are the areas where it is most usually found. On dogs, it is quite active. The activity of lice feeding on the skin can cause severe itchiness, and vigorous scratching can result in skin damage. The damage may become more complicated by inflammation and consequent bacterial infection. Additionally, this louse may act as an intermediary host for the canine double-pored tapeworm, Diplodium caninum. When lice consume live D. caninum eggs from dried host excrement, they get infected. Dog-sucking louse, Lineagnathes setosis, suborder, Anoplura, family, Lineagnathidae. With the exception of severe infestations, the canine sucking louse rarely irritates dogs. Usually under dog collar, infestations are most common on the neck and shoulders. Similar to the dog-biting louse, severe infestations can be uncomfortable and cause the host to rub, scratch, and bite at the infected areas. This may cause alopecia, anxiety, insomnia, and a rough, matted coat. Very young, aged, or disabled animals as well as animals housed in filthy conditions are more likely to experience infestations. 10.5.3 Control measures. The key factor in effectively managing lice in animals is constant surveillance for infestations. Smaller infestations of lice are especially difficult to detect because cattle farmers don't notice a problem until their animals start losing hair noticeably and scratching excessively. By this time, lice numbers frequently exceed the economic cutoff point. Therefore, it is important to regularly check cattle and other livestock for lice infestations. 5 to 6 areas of the cow's body should be examined, including the head, neck, shoulders, back, hips, and tail. One can identify a lice infestation by separating the hair and looking for lice on the skin. If the average number of lice per hair part or square inch is 10, treatment is usually 197. Indicated. Also crucial is figuring out whether the lice are biting or bloodsucking. This could decide on the most suitable control strategy. Examining carefully for an infestation while introducing new animals to the herd is the most crucial and effective way to control a lice infestation in various farm animals. There are numerous insecticides and application methods available to control lice on cattle. The numerous control methods include sprays, dust, porins, injections, and self-application devices, e.g., dust bags, oilers, back rubbers. In addition, biting or chewing lice cannot usually be controlled by systemic insecticides. Treatments with surface-acting insecticides are required in cases with biting lice infestations. 10.6 Fleas. The insect order Siphonoptera contains every species of flea that infests livestock. More than 95% of the 2,500 species that make up this tiny insect order are mammalian ectoparasites. A small number of species are parasitic to avian hosts in addition to the mammalian ectoparasites. 10.6.1 Cause, mode of parasitism. Fleas have highly developed mouthparts for sucking and piercing in order to consume blood. Adult males and females both consume blood as food. Fleas go through two life stages, a parasitic one where the adults are found on the host, and a non-parasitic one where the larvae feed on the host. Typically, eggs are placed on the host or occasionally close to the host. They quickly detach from the host and land on the ground or in the host nest. Within a few days of oviposition, eggs hatch. In addition to hair, skin, scales, scabs, dried host blood, feathers, and even cast exoskeletons and adult flea excrement, proteinaceous organic detritus is also consumed by larvae. A mature flea larva will construct a silken cocoon that is woven using waste products from the environment where the larva was developing. Adult fleas, both male and female, eat their host's blood for food. Despite the modest size of individual blood meals, frequent feeding and heavy infestations can result in considerable blood loss. Flea bites itch and can result in swelling and itching at the bite site. The host animal biting and scratching itself frequently result in additional injury. The victim of a flea bite may 198 experience allergic reactions. In addition, different species of fleas are known to act as intermediate hosts or vectors for a variety of pathogens, including as viruses, bacteria, rickettsii, and helminthes. 10.6.2 Disease-affected host. The crucial host specificity that flea species exhibit is comparable to that of livestock lice, with one species specializing in infesting one or more closely related animal species. Along with cats, dogs, and rats, poultry birds are heavily infested with fleas. Different flea species have been examined individually under separate species with regard to the infection and damage they spread. Cat flea, Ctenocephalides felis, order, Siphonoptera, family, Pulicidae. The most prevalent flea on household cats and dogs is the cat flea. Humans and various other mammals are also host for these fleas. It can cause severe irritation that leads to dermatitis and skin inflammation. Heavy infestations can cause young animals to become anemic. Strong grooming reactions might occur in the host animal as a result of flea allergy dermatitis. Animals with allergies repeatedly lick, scratch, and bite flea bites, leading to hair loss and skin ulcers. Lesions at the biting site frequently develop secondary infections. The double-pored tapeworm, Dipylidium caninum, uses the cat flea as an intermediary host. The flea larval, pupal, and adult stages serve as host for the tapeworm larva develop. The tapeworm becomes a cysticercoid and encapsulates inside the adult flea. Adult tapeworms seek entry into the digestive tract of host via ingestion of infected flea by host while grooming its own self. Dog flea, Ctenocephalides canis, order, Siphonoptera, family, Pulicidae. The dog flea is substantially less frequent than the cat flea, while being widespread globally. Actually, the flea most frequently discovered on dogs is the cat flea. Similar harm is inflicted on the host by the dog flea, including host hypersensitivity and flea allergy dermatitis. Additionally, it acts as a host for the double-pored dog tapeworm, just like the cat flea does. Stick-tite flea, Echidnophaga gallinaceae, order, Siphonoptera, family, Pulicidae. The stick-tite flea is chiefly significant as a bird parasite. It can be a major problem for chickens. Around the head, where the adult flea firmly embeds its mouthparts into the host skin, 199 infestations of poultry might take place. These fleas frequently gather in groups around the eyes, comb, wattles, and other exposed areas. Both skin irritation and ulceration may result from them. Infestations that are more severe will reduce bird egg production and diet effectiveness. Young birds who are subjected to severe infestations risk blindness and possibly death. Northern rat flea, Nosopsalis fasciatus, order, Siphonoptera, family, Ceratophilidae. It mostly parasitizes the Norway rat, Rattus norvegicus, while it also affects several other rodents and domestic mammals on occasion. It has been proven to spread a number of zoonotic infections, including the plague and murine typhus virus. It is typically thought to be of negligible veterinary significance. European chicken flea, Ceratophilus gallinae, order, Siphonoptera, family. Ceratophilidae. This flea feeds on poultry, which can make the birds irritable, agitated, and anemic. They can occasionally become a nuisance for those who work in poultry plants where they are present or in homes where wild birds have taken up residence. It is frequently discovered in bird nesting materials. 10.6.3 Control measures. Flea populations are naturally kept below economic thresholds by efficient host animal grooming techniques as well as predators that eat both the adult and larva, such as predatory mites, pseudoscorpions, beetles, and ants. Yersinia pestis, protozoa, nematodes, and a parasitoid wasp are among the parasites that can infect fleas. Vacuuming can get rid of practically all flea larvae and roughly 60% of flea eggs in mechanical control methods. The larvae, which resemble worms, are readily removed with the vacuum. Different insecticidal treatments can also be used to manage the flea populations in addition to cultural activities such maintaining adequate cleanliness and timely inspection for the presence of fleas in poultry and other domestic animals. Spot applications of insecticides like fipronil and methoprene and various insect growth regulators, IGR, can effectively manage these pests. 200. 10.7 Ticks. Ticks are destructive external blood-feeding parasites of mammals, birds, and reptiles all throughout the world, with many distinct species having regional relevance. Systematic position. Ticks are the close relatives to the insects of phylum Arthropoda and belong to the class Arachnida. Unlike the three-segmented body of insects, ticks have a two-segmented body, having cephalothorax and abdomen. Ticks are in the class Arachnida and subclass Acari and are closely related to mites. Within the order Parasitiformes, ticks are represented by three families: Ixodidae, Argacidae, and Nuttallelidae. Family Ixodidae, the hard ticks, contains most of the species of veterinary importance. 10.7.1 Cause, mode of parasitism. The tick uses